Okay. Wow. All right. Let's see. We got a few people here. Okay. Haribo. Greetings from Govardhan. This was the first day where no one was here. 13th and 14th, Raghunath Mara and two other people were here. So this is the day where you'll uncharacteristically see me kind of exhausted. I'm pretty comfortable now, but exhausted means I'm not going to go to sleep. It's just my body aches and is tired. It was just wonderful. We went for about, I don't know, almost 3 weeks just going. And now I have 3 more weeks before I leave the country. But I think this, I don't want to talk about my body, but I think this happens to me once a year. It's maybe change of weather. It's kind of like a flu without a running nose, just some aches. But I'm excited to begin a new katha. I was so happy with doing that kaliya, and people were coming every day, and I could summarize it to you people here. So I really like that, because you could get these leelas, these pastimes, in very detailed and etch them in your memory, and it has a very wonderful effect on the consciousness. Rasik, hi Bob. Where are you now?
All right.
Yeah. Did you get the key?
Yeah, all set.
Was he there?
No. The room was just, he was there.
And roommate.
Yep.
Okay, it's okay?
Yep, all good.
You need any blankets or anything?
Everything's there, Raj, all good.
Okay, we'll come back. I think first thing you do is get that juice. That's
I'll go there right now.
okay.
Everyone.
So I'm going to do the Govardhan Leela, and I'm in Govardhan Hill. And let's see, I'm looking. I really like to speak, and I think it's the most enjoyable for people when I speak a combination of Krishna-katha mixed with the philosophy. It's hard just to speak rasa. Stories are okay, but there has to be the philosophy for me. Maybe some people could just tell stories and people will be enchanted, but I think the connection I have with people are people who like to hear both. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Canto 10, Chapter 24, Text 1. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. śrī-śuka uvāca. Bhagavān api tatraiva. Baladevena saṁyutaḥ. Apaśyan. Nivasan gopān. Indra-yāga-kṛtodyamān. indra-yāga-kṛtodyamān. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, while staying in that very place with his brother Baladeva, Lord Krishna happened to see the cowherd men busily arranging for a sacrifice to Indra. Om Jnana-timirandasya gananjana shalakaya chaksurmulatam yena tasmai śrī-gurave namaha Sri Chaitanya-mano bhishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati svapadantikam Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I see some of you just joined in the last few minutes. I'm going to be doing Govardhan Leela. And I mentioned that somehow or other, after 3 weeks going full, Krishna pulled out the plug. And, for a day or two, I'll be uncharacteristically not at full energy, so I can empathize with most people who don't have full energy. But still, somehow today, I don't know why I had this desire, even though I was feeling weak, to go to Anayor. That's the first village down the road from my place. About a 25-minute walk. And I wanted to do Madhu Kari. Madhu means like a bee, and Kari means to do. So what does a bee do? They take a little pollen from each flower. They don't take all the pollen from each flower. So similarly, sadhus who want to dedicate themselves to chanting, they have no impetus to make a kitchen. So how do they eat? Well, there are Brahmin families around Govardhan that for hundreds of years, the family has been making rotis and sabji for any of the sadhus that walk around. So I went. The system is you say Radhe, Radhe. You say Radhe, Radhe, and they invite you up and they give you a few rotis, generally 2 to 4 and a scoop of sabji. But I cheated a little bit. I went to this house of this person I know. He's 62. Bal Kishan conductor. He used to be a conductor. Retired at the age of 60, and for 18 years, walked around Govardhan Hill every day. What a wonderful, sweet, pious man. And now he's so nice. Now he's 82. He just goes around Govinda for a shorter walk. So But what really impressed me is, he has 2 sons there and their wives and about 7 grandchildren. They all live together. And the enthusiasm of those teenagers for sadhus, when some of you were there actually with our Vikram party, we went one day there, and you saw on the top of their porch on the 2nd floor, all these young teenage girls, beautiful, simple, pious Brajvasis waving. So happy. So I went there today and I sat and I saw the sadhus and the enthusiasm in which the children serve the sadhus, and how a culture can be instilled if the parents have similar culture and similar views. And they all live together. It's like all together. There's like one living room and 2 bedrooms, and open and an outside kind of kitchen, and they're all together. They just like to be together. And it confirms studies I've seen that the most important thing for happiness is quality relationships. But the blessings of sadhus, I really think that we advance by blessings. We advance by blessings. And every day, those sadhus that come to the house, and from a young age, now they're teenage girls, 19 and 20 and 15. Simple. Round, moonlight faces, always smiling. And every day, I was sitting there today, these beautiful sadhus came up the steps, and the girls so enthusiastically give them rotis. And what that does, that creates the most powerful samskara of generosity in children, which will extend not only to the sadhus, what happened here? Okay. Which will extend not only to the sadhus, but to their family, to their friends. And I remember today, as I left, because I sat again today, the 2nd time I've been there in a week, and I sat with the family, with the father and his son. Father's 82, son must be in his 50s. Children, one of the girls was getting married. When I went downstairs and I walked out, I just looked back and I saw all their children, their teens, just smiling and waving. And that's consistent, really, with a very important verse in the Bhagavatam that says, Dharmasya yapavargasya. The Dharma is meant for liberation. And commentators explain how is Dharma meant for liberation. Because one of the main things of Dharma is making your house open for others so that you don't fall into envious material consciousness. Yeah, in this crazy week, when Raghunath came, this young Goswami who went to the Gurukul in Vrindavan, he's only 23. he took us to Sudevi's village and a place called Kadambakandi, where it was one of the places of Krishna dancing with gopis, but it was pretty untouched, pretty breathtaking. And he described that in the village, people don't put doors on their houses because their mood is everything belongs to God. So it's just a ritual, the consciousness of stepping out of any self-centeredness, individually or with family. The idea that a grihastha would go outside and say 3 times, is anyone hungry? Just because they know that we have desires, they have to be fulfilled, that family life is a stage that elevates the consciousness when done properly, but there are challenges of losing a sense of universal love and restricting your love, and love, duality, hate. So Atiti Bhagavan, the guest is God. And most important thing for families, if they want their children to grow up in a good spirit. Now, it's a very interesting verse here. It says, tatraiva, in the same place. The same place, in other words, the Govardhan Lila happens in the same place as the yogic Brahmins, the wives of the yogic Brahmins. So this is one of the impetuses for the story. And it's interesting, it comes after that with the same theme, which means it's something that has to be impressed in our consciousness, which is a great fault of religious activities, is that one forgets the intention of the activities. And you just do the ritual. It doesn't transform the consciousness very powerfully. That's why even in our spiritual practices, we have to find ways not to do things in an obligatory way. Chant to finish around, or do this. Of course, we have to remain under obligation. We can't become spontaneous as long as the mind has so many material samskaras. So we do have to rule ourselves by rules. But Śrīmad Gosvāmī makes it very clear on the path of bhakti, and Prabhupada does in the Nectar of Devotion, that as we advance, and to help us advance, we should keep in the forefront a spiritual intention. He gives the example of doing your gopān mantra that you get when you take second initiation, and how you can envision Radha and Krishna in Vamsivāda. So there's a little effort to focus the mind and be spontaneous. I had a long talk with the Kṛṣṇa Krishna about this. He was telling me different things he was exploring in terms of meditation. And he came, came to something that was teaching something like Rupa Dhyan, where You chant, you meditate on the form of God. And of course, there's the sadhana kram. That means a step-by-step process of roop, guna, nam, roop, guna, lila, name, form, qualities, and pastimes. And I guess his main question is, but if I don't have taste for just the name, wouldn't it be better to, well, I'm chanting, think of the form. And there are techniques and methods like that. And the only thing I said is, Nam namu kari bahudani jasarva saktis tatarpita nimatasmane. There's no hard and fast rules. But when you're chanting, the gauge that what you're doing is right is that the focus of the name becomes more prominent in the consciousness. And you don't want to be inattentive, which is an offense. So anyway, it's a little bit of a complex subject, but the point is, of all the Vedas, I am to be known. Yasya deve para bhaktir tata deve tata guru. If one has implicit faith in the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master, the imports of the Vedas are revealed. You know, in a typical Vedic society, there wouldn't be a great difference between someone who's a devotee and who was not. They were probably still following the same rituals, kind of being religious in a similar way. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, well, what's the difference? One has the right intention, faith, or goal. So faith is a conviction. And a conviction in bhakti is to please God. Anukuyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakta Uttama. So in this Leela, what did Krishna just observe? He observed the Brahmins who Yagyavai Vishnu, the Yagyas for Vishnu. Krishna sends the cowherd boys to beg food for Vishnu. And they don't even say Om. Om means yes. They ignore. They don't hear. It says they hear, but they don't hear. The sound vibration is there, but it doesn't stick in the mind because the mind is not focused. So it doesn't really, our rituals, therefore, it's so important while we're chanting to also read. Prabhupada said the process of reading and chanting. And I spoke about this many times in traditional Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Before they chant bhajans, just like when we were in Puri. Garanga Karuna Koro. We're chanting these nice bhajans. They gave us a mood in which we can enter. And the mood is especially important in bhakti because it's the mood which enables us to be absorbed in the object of our meditation, which is the test of the efficacy of our practice. Jai Jagannath was giving wonderful classes in Jagannath Puri about avesh. Avesh means absorption. The key is absorption. That's why it says in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarve sham madhyatena taratmanam shradhavam bhajate yomam saṁyutaḥ mataha. All yogis want to worship me with faith and devotion is the highest because the emotional connection is the most powerful. So just to do rituals and not do their meaning, it loses its power. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur questioned without intention, when you chant the holy name, is it just a prakritic or material sound? If you don't have the intention within it. He described it like bullets that are blank. They just make a sound, but there's no potency. And we know also in the Bhagavatam how it says, Dharma sunushtita pumsa viviksena katasi no pariye yadivatim shrama. It's so much useless labor. If yadivratim, if it doesn't give you rati, it doesn't give you love. The goal is love. The goal is happiness. Rules are meant to serve the goal. Rules in bhakti mean to think of Krishna, never forget him, to absorb ourselves in Krishna. That's the main purpose of rules. And if it doesn't serve that purpose, then we shouldn't be attached to that rule. Like if you're in an airplane 10,000 feet above the sky, it's foolish to pay attention to the stoplights. They're no longer serving your mission. So what Krishna really wants to expose in both these stories of the yogic Brahmins and the worshiping Govardhan Hill is Twasmin Parama Prema Rup, the highest form of love is to God. Of course, it is the only love that's inclusive of everything, because God is the only being that's inclusive of everything. Because the only real universal love is love of God. And Krishna wants to establish that. And Jivera Sarupahoy Krishnera Nityadas. That's our sarup. That's actual mukti. Muktir hitva yata rupam sarupena vivastita. Real mukti is to be situated in your sarup, your own identity, your own form. And everything else is meant to bring us to that platform. The ladder is to get over the wall, not to stay on the ladder. There's all kinds of processes of spiritual life to purify us, but we ultimately have to become to sarupena vivastita. We ultimately have to come to our own swarup, our own identity. Muktir hitvayata rupam. You have to give up the false identity. So there may be processes that give up the false identity, but not as a process within itself. We even discussed sense gratification in that way. Apaśyan indra-yāga-kṛtodyamān. Lavo jiveta yavata. Jivasya tattva jigyasa. Apaśyan indra-yāga-kṛtodyamān, that sense gratification has a purpose. Without enjoyment, the body dies. But the purpose is not sense gratification. You take what you need to keep the mind and body, the mind, body, and soul together for the purpose of the higher endeavor of Krishna consciousness. So this is such an important point of Krishna by his Leela, putting the bhakti and worship of God, Rasa Vaisaha, as the ultimate reality, and having leelas or pastimes that put things in the proper perspective. So Krishna comes from one thing, that yajna, where the yogic Brahmins are completely neglectful of the purpose of the. It's like a weapon, a gun. It's not enough to shoot, you have to aim. So rituals have to be aimed, they have to have an objective or purpose. And the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is, it's not for material aggrandizement. It's not for material, and that's the second verse of the Bhagavatam. Dharma proji tatra paramo namatsuranam satam. Dharma proji tatra. It's kicking out that kind of religion which doesn't aim for the ultimate. Namatsuranam satam. Because when you are free from envy, then you're no longer in this game of getting power and control in the material world, even if it's religious. And that's what a devotee is supposed to be, near matsanam. They're without that hate. Ichadvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata. They're without that hate, that positioning themselves in the world. And if they have to do it, it's to satisfy that desire to ultimately transcend it. So Krishna really, by this part in the Bhagavatam, he really, really wants to establish what is the Nitya Dharma, what is the eternal duty, what is the eternal duty of the living entity? Not naimittika dharma. You have temporary duties to purify you, but what's the ultimate duty? What's your ultimate destination? And if you don't have that, you can move anywhere and accept anything. And these are meant to give us faith, because you don't move without faith. And faith is not just a theoretical understanding, it's a conviction. Conviction of the value and rightness of the goal, which gives you the impetus to pursue it and to undergo whatever challenges there are in that pursuit. So, verse 2. Tadabhigyo pi bhagavān sarvatma sarvadarshanam prashraya vanate prichad ridham nanda purogamam. Being the omniscient super soul, the Supreme Lord already understood the situation, yet he still humbly inquired from the elders headed by his father, Nanda Maharaj. So this is always there. This is abhigya. He knows. He knows. He's inquiring, but he knows. He's going to ask his father, what's this all about? But he knows. And he also knows that this is part of the Leela. And he wants to carry forth with the Leela by asking his father these questions and establishing so many things. He says, his father says. So this is always interesting. There's always a sense that God knows and doesn't know. And I discussed that with the Kaliya pastime, where Krishna didn't know that the cowherd boys didn't die and had that experience of separation from his friends. and how important drama is there in the spiritual. How important drama is there in the spiritual world to bring love to the platform of rasa. So he knew, but he still asked, because he was eager to enact the pastime of Govardhan Hill. So this is really a beautiful understanding of God, that he's not God if he's not all-knowing, and he's not God if he's sometimes forgetful. And he can be both, because he's not under the laws of material nature. His determination is an absolute fact. And he can have his determination act in a way that he can have shaktis that organize things and move things without him being cognizant of it unless he wants to. And therefore he could relish the lila. But at this particular point, abhiga, tene brahma hidhani kaviye, tene brahma yadi kaviye. Anyway, abhigya surat, the two qualities of God is that he must be all-knowing, and surat, he must be self-ruled. So nothing is forcing him but his will, because he's God. This concept of God, we can't wrap around our minds. It's beyond the material nature, it's beyond the laws. His determination is an absolute fact, and therefore, tad-ejati, tad-naijati, tad-dure, tad-vantike, tarantarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasya. He walks and he doesn't walk, he's near, he's far, he's inside, he's out, he's knowing, he's forgetful. So he goes to his father. Katyatam me pita koyam sambramo va upagata kim phalam kasyavo desha kenava sadyate maka. Lord Krishna said, my dear father, kindly explain to me what this great endeavor of yours is about. I'm going to run out of electricity. It's just been one of those days. 1 second. Okay, I have to get out of here first. Okay. 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 I have to. So he's asking his father to explain what is it meant to accomplish. If this is a ritual, then for whose satisfaction it is intended, and by what means is it going to be executed? So why we do something, I explained, is so important. And Yeah, because intention is always in part of practice. A lot of times our japa becomes dry because we don't have the proper intention. Yeah. And in the Yoga Sutras, when it mentions practice, it mentions 4 things: concentration over a prolonged period of time without interruption and in the right mood. Because there has to be some type of force of reason or heart to direct an activity. And if we lose sense of that, our faith and our attention is going to be slackened. And we may be doing the activity inappropriately, or we may be doing the wrong activity. Next verse. Etad bruhi mahan kamo maya mahan. Etad bruhi mahan kamo mayam susrashave pita nihi gopyam isadanam krityam sarvatmanam niha asti aspa para justinam amrito dasta vidvisam. Please tell me about it, Father. Oh, Father, I have great desire to know, and I'm ready to hear in good faith. So I'm not just asking you. I'm ready to follow what you say. Oh, great. 1 second. That's why learning takes effort, and a teacher can instruct the student according to the faith the student has in the authority of the teacher. To the extent that faith is not there is the extent that the teacher will be cautious to make the effort to teach the student. Because knowledge, and a lot of times, it's beyond their own frame of reference. And it challenges our attachments. So there's a great resistance to actually understanding something that's true, because it reflects on our life, and our lives are not always conformed to that truth. So only someone with faith will make the effort, and only someone with faith will attract the teacher to make the effort to educate that student. So he says, please tell me about it, Father. I have great desire to know, and I am ready to hear about faith, with faith. Certainly no secrets are kept by saintly personalities who still see all others as equal to themselves, who have no conception of mine or another's, and do not consider who is a friend, who is an enemy, and who is neutral. Purport: Lord Krishna's father might have thought that his son was a mere child and thus could not properly question the validity of a Vedic sacrifice. But the Lord's clever statement here would certainly have convinced Nanda that Sri Krishna was making a serious, not whimsical inquiry, and that a serious answer should be given. So he said, okay, tell me. And his father is hesitant. Why? Why keep secrets from saintly persons? Or why will a saintly person keep a secret? Because he has no detachments, and therefore nothing that he says can be used to harm him. So Krishna says, why keep secret? There's no duality. And your saintly dad, father, there's no duality in your life. Just like in the one of the Swami and Orion sects, their gurus live in glass houses. There's nothing to hide. And they're completely surrendered to God's will. So no one can harm them. Just as Socrates said to the assembly who threatened to poison, who did poison him, if you think you can harm me, you cannot harm me. You can only harm yourself. The only harm that you can do is when you act against God's will. And if someone acts against God's will in terms of you, you can still respond in a way to use that to elevate your consciousness. So what is the need for saintly persons to keep secrets, he's saying? So therefore you should give it to me. And it's that you see others as equal to yourself, just like those houses, the open doors. If you see everyone equal, then why this secrecy? And they don't have that distinction. It's mine, it's others. They do not consider this. So you should please do that. Okay, because of, I have to say, my fatigue, let me see what time it is. 1 second. Okay. Jumanajai, is anything you can share today?
Yes, Hare Krishna Raj. Thanks for class. It's amazing when you say you're fatigued and then it just comes.
I can't see you. So I don't know what I'm doing here.
Okay. Can you hear me, Raj?
What?
Can you hear me?
I don't have my hearing aids either.
Oh, okay.
It's just a bad day.
But I just wanted to say I appreciated the two analogies you gave of the ladder and the gun, that you get on the ladder. You don't stay in the ladder, you use the ladder. And the thing about the practices have to be aimed like a gun.
I heard most of it, yeah.
Like we know if a gun can do so much harm if it's not aimed. So I really appreciated those two.
I heard you that you appreciated those two analogies. Yes, thank you. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can I ask something?
You can try. And there's two things. One, I'm exhausted.
And you're hearing.
Two, I may not hear you, but go ahead, try.
Thank you, Raj.
Try.
Thank you for your class.
Okay. So I'm referring to your conversation with the Kṛṣṇa Krishna Prabhu.
Right? With who?
A Kṛṣṇa.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted to improve his japa by meditating on Krishna's form.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that our energy should go into trying to focus on the sound and
that's
not
what I
try,
told him. Yes.
and not try to artificially.
Right. That's exactly what I told him. It was a little bit deeper than that. I can't get into it, but that's what I told him. It all depends. Whatever you do to keep your mind focused, the efficacy depends on how much you're hearing the name.
Okay. And then Maharaj,
So someone may look at a picture and it may inspire him to hear more. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maharaj,
Thank you, Gail.
Can I just ask one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So when Krishna was asking his father, why are we doing this yajna? And he knew the answer. But when we say that he knew, are we saying that he knew because he's God, or because he knew even as a child he knew and he was asking anyway to make a point?
No, he knew because he was God.
Okay, great. Thank you.
He knew because he was God, and he didn't know because he was God. Okay.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone else want to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here. So good to see you. Hare Krishna.
Everyone settled back after that ecstatic, I guess, 10 days or something, you know?
Yeah. Hard to believe we're not there.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Namasaki here. Thank you for the class. It was wonderful.
Oh, Namasaki, how nice to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
Radhika
Krishna.
here. We don't
Hare
have
Krishna,
your voice,
Baladeva.
Maharaj. You're muted, Maharaj.
Guru Maharaj, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm mute. Okay. Haribo, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the lecture.
Haribo. Now nice to see you. Okay. Now I see you, Sri Radhika. I can see you and our other friend there, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for coming. That's so nice. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Amala.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Hare Krishna.
great to see you. Good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Garaj, it's Lal Govinda. Thank you for class.
Okay, Lal. Haribo.
Haribo. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah. Haribo. Anybody else? Okay. I'm going to head out now. I tried today and we kept it up. Okay. Vancha Kalpa Jubya Sakta.